Alright, now you can hear me, guys. Hello? Speak to that. How's everyone doing? So, we'll just go with the coin chart, I guess. Can everyone hear me? Can someone comment that you can hear me? I'll press 1. Can you all hear me? Oh no, the music's too loud, isn't it? Uh-oh. Alright. We're going without the music. Alright, sorry about that. Hello, Charles. No problem. Alright, let's go. So I'll try to make this quick for you. So yesterday on the stream, we're looking at the daily chart, and what I was basically saying was there's no reason to really become majorly bullish until we close above this value area high. Then we can look for higher targets, and higher targets wouldn't even be that really high. It would be top of this imbalance. And the target that we're looking for the downside would at least be to this point of control here on the daily chart. So this dump isn't really that unexpected. Music's still playing. And the target that we're looking for the downside. Oh no, the music's down. All right, cool. Just a late chat between what I see. So for the daily chart, what we're looking for was this point of control. So this dump really wasn't too unexpected. Now we did get a nice bounce recently. So after I made the thumbnail, no, the dump is not continuing. So really, what's going on? Why are we bouncing? We're really just coming into this big support and resistance zone. We go drop it down, back down to the 4 hour. We can see that we just have, a lot of volume in this area, right? We can do this like little wick with a high volume candle, and we see that we wicked into it and went above. But we can also see that there's just a lot of high volume and a lot of interest in this area, right, throughout. So we stay here for a while, we accumulate, we had high volume, we had a resistance zone in this area, and coming into it even we had a vector here. So 21.5, 21.6 seems to be a very notable area on lower term time frames. Does this mean that we're going to turn back up to the upside on the daily chart? No, I don't really think so. Unless we, the only thing that would really confirm that would be a closure above this previous high in the 4 hour right here. So if we close above this high at 23,000 roughly, then we change market structure on the 4 hour time frame, and we continue upwards and onwards. Probably most importantly, and probably a reason to be bullish, is the fact that the market structure low for the 4 hour LCB is right here. All right, so set a new high, come down, set a new high, come down, set a new high, wick down, and then we can make the final high here. So in order to break market structure, we would have to break this low, preferably close below it on a 4 hour, and we haven't done that yet. So technically, we aren't in really a downtrend yet on the 4 hour time frame. We're really just still in a bullish market structure, which is a correction to the downside. So if you're playing the daily chart, you'd be short. If you're playing the 4 hour chart, you'd be looking for a long. So it's just two different time frames to play. Okay. So that's basically all I had on Bitcoin. Was probably gonna get a short-term bounce here, but nothing changes until you close above this previous high. And you also have this huge imbalance here, right? So maybe even we drop it down to 1 hour. Like you have this huge imbalance here, which is you're most likely to fill, at least to a certain extent. So nothing too crazy there. If we drop it down to the 1 minute, we could just see some like, you know, how we have some like notable volume. We held the daily VWAP pretty much as resistance all day. So you could just trade the VWAP if you were scalping. You know, short there, take your profits, short, take your profits. Then you come up to it, and then you break through with notable volume. So, yeah, if it comes back and holds a VWAP, that might be a good scalp long for you. Just simple stuff like that, not getting too complicated. We can look at Ethereum. And on Ethereum, we see that it actually did fill this imbalance that we were talking about yesterday. So we needed here. You know, we worked into it. Didn't fill it completely. But, yeah, nothing too unexpected here. You know, we're expecting it to come back and fill this imbalance. And, like I said yesterday, it came up right to the value area high. So we're looking back for it to come back to the point of control right over here. Nothing too crazy there. We can look at different lower time frames, like the 4 hour. 4 hour time frame, we still are accumulating this within this range. We do have like a kind of a sort of a swing failure pattern. Yeah, there you go. Those are the words. Swing failure pattern here, right? This is the low. Look above it, close above. So you might enter along here. With targets really back up to pretty much the 618, which is just right now 1582. You also had a swing failure pattern of the highs here. So, you know, give you short from here and long from here. But nothing too concerning yet. We could take a volume profile on this again, like we did the other day. And yeah, as you can see, you know, we broke past the volume area low. Now we're back above it. So coming back up to the point of control, if we take our fibs again, maybe that lines up with the 618. No, it lines up with the 0.5. So maybe even take profit sooner on that one, like more at the point of control, not 0.5 fib. And we can look at Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Oh, sorry, Ethereum versus coin. Just to see if any divergences are brewing. And I did not look at this chart yet today. Oh, cool. So what we were talking about yesterday is that so what I said yesterday was, you know, as long as we don't close above this imbalance, right, the next move I would look for is a retest of this point of control here. This point of control was from this huge range of 2021, even going to 2022. Basically like a year's range. So we were looking for that retest of that point of control. We got it. We can drop it down to 4 hour even. Cool. Yeah, so we wick below it, no problem. Close above it, cool, all good in the hood. And so for that reason, this might actually, you might actually become a little bit bullish in terms of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. You might look for the value area high, right? There's no reason to be extremely bearish when you're above the point of control and held it as support already. So that seems to be holding well. So for me, it's a range, right? You might just continue to range here, or you might even come and set a new high. I don't see any reason to be too concerned with the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. And that's, of course, in confluence with the fact that Ethereum USDT just set a bullish swing value pattern. So, you know, this thing can skyrocket, right? So all these Bitcoin evaluations, you just have to take more or less as divergences, like I said yesterday. If this is showing something bullish and the USD evaluation kind of is like wishy-washy, then, you know, you can take this as like more or less kind of like RSI divergence. That's how I interpret it. Another coin I just wanted to look at. If you guys have any coins, any questions, just throw them in the chat. I can read it. Instead, I'm just rambling on. Another coin we were looking at yesterday was audio. I think we're at 50 minute. Yeah. This is not the right chart because I had stuff. There you go. So, yeah, we were looking at this. This is a market structure break line. I think this was on the 4 hour. Yes. So this is the market structure line, this is the wick low, then set the new high. We broke through it with nodal volume. So this is going to be, we're going to look, we can say it's a support line, but it's a market structure line. So we broke it with the nodal volume, then we'll come back to retest it with, retest it. So yeah, we did. Wicked above it a little bit, closed below it, no problem. I think we were like literally right here yesterday. I was like, probably a good short, and you're probably going to come test at least these range lows. And we aren't there yet, but we're getting there pretty close. If you want to treat this as a range, you can take a volume profile now, because we do have some more data. Yep, and we can see that the point of control is way up here. What does that imply? It's very close to the value area high, which is very close to the range highs. And what does that imply? That there's a lot of trapped longs. So more downside movement, come retest the value of this range low. Makes sense. If we were to break that range low, then I would look for this to come down or test this one, which is like at 28 cents. This is what we did, what we talked about yesterday. Does anybody have coins you want me to look at? Or I can just look at like what moved the most, and we can do some TA on that. All right, we'll do some TA on what moved the most. Sushi was positive today. Sorted. FTM. The scam coin. Ooh, actually it could move to upside. All right, 4-hour chart. We can look at this coin. So this is actually looks somewhat similar to the Bitcoin chart. So how are we going to interpret this? So the way I interpret this is some people will take this as your swing low and say, okay, we're ranging now, and take the volume profile or even fibs like from here. And for how I trade and how I interpret ranges and trending markets, that's not how I do it. The way I do it, just like how I explained yesterday, just go over it, is this is your swing high and this is your swing low. So it's two pivots, and now we're in this range, right? Because if we're taking, we have to have two pivots to form a range. So if we're taking this as your pivot, one pivot point, where's your next pivot point? Would be probably this one. And you broke out of it, so now you're trending, and it's not a range anymore. So what I want to do is take all of, if we're going to trade this like a range, we want to take our volume profile from the range, from the first swing, first pivot. So that's because we're in a downtrend, that happens to be the swing high. Then we want to take our fibs from that. And we can also look for imbalances, and that doesn't really have to do much with range. We just look for imbalances. There's no notable imbalances. There were ones right here, but they're already filled. You have one down here, right? You have pretty noticeable imbalance, and it also happens to be a vector candle, so that like adds to the fact that is probably going to be filled at some point. And when we take our fibs and we take our volume profile, we see where that we were right about the value area high. We actually closed above it, but right after that we were at the 0.5 Fibonacci level. We rejected off that, wicked above it, kind of closed it below it, iffy, and we're dumping. So that's to be expected right there. We also had a untested daily level right here, right? The untested daily support and resistance level, we had 0.5 Fibonacci level, we're right at the value area high. So that was a pretty easy short position to take. I didn't look at FTM, I'm just doing it right back. Looking at it right now. So where am I looking for this to go? Really just fill this imbalance. And then you also have the 0.182 Fibonacci level right at the point of control. This basically looks almost exactly like Bitcoin. Other than the fact that we had this like one move up. This pretty much looks exactly like the Bitcoin chart. So maybe if we go down to shorter time frames, like the 4-hour. Okay, so we take this as our market structure line. We looked below it, was above it. So a move up into at least like recovering at least like half of this candle, I would say probably even like probably this right here. like 34, 1.15. Right, you can probably catch some good shorts, and then write it down to at least this imbalance, which will give you like 17% move. That's how I would interpret this chart. We can look at CRV, dumped hard. I'm just looking, if you're just tuning in, I just went over Bitcoin, Ethereum, ETH versus Bitcoin evaluation. I'm just looking at the big movers of the day. If you have any coins specifically you want me to look at, or questions about my methods, you can just ask in the chat. So I'm just not rambling on and on. Okay, this one's actually a bit more interesting, at least. Doesn't look exactly like Bitcoin. It looks, yeah, it looks interesting. So what do we have here? So we kind of had what Bitcoin had and what FTM had. We had a swing low, swing high, and then we formed a low, kind of ranged a bit, but then we were trending upwards within that range. But what happened after that? So this was our swing high right here. We actually had a swing failure pattern on the daily chart. So, you know, wick above it, close below, take your shorts. Now where we look for continuation to the downside, we don't have any notable imbalances, right? But we can take, I would say, this right here. It's probably going to be an area of interest, mostly because it has high volume and also does kind of sort of have an imbalance, right? You see notable volume in this area as well, right here, notable volume right here. So 90, yeah, I guess because it's near $1. That makes sense. All big whole number. We can take our volume profile. We can still treat this as a range. And there's no real, we'll just see where things line up together. Okay, so of course, since we broke out of this range, broke out of the value area high, we can see, interpreting this in the past, we broke through it with high volume. We came back, retested it as support. It's not perfect, right? You have to be careful with, I mean, you have to be like a little lenient with these low liquidity shitcoins. They're not going to act like Bitcoin and Ethereum because they just don't have many traders trading them. You have a swing failure pattern of the highs. So where are you looking for next? Of course, you're going to be looking for a retest of this value area high first. So at $1.108. If that holds, a good long position might be suitable, and upwards and onwards from there. And we can look for targets just a bit after we get it, just after I get done with these downward targets. And after that, if we break below, then obviously this imbalance right here, which is next, this is very close to the 0.5 fib and the 0.382. And then obviously after that, the point of control. But that's very far away, and I'd really look for more or less just this coming back to the value area high, this 618, and continue onwards. After assuming this holds and we continue higher, all right, let's look for any, we have big imbalances over here between 1.636 and 1.85 roughly. So, you know, hold this value area high. We'll probably look for this range to be this this zone to be the next target. If you want to treat this, let's see what the daily, the weekly chart looks like. Yeah, you can use this as a support resistance line right here. So maybe even this support and resistance line right here. Might as well get it. So we've seen before in a lot of the previous charts we looked at how they wick above the balances and close into them. So you might get a wick up to 1.97. No, not 1.917. Right. This is where I'd be looking to take profits on long and potentially short as well, depending on what the rest of the market's looking like. But for now, come back to this value area high, and you're probably gonna, as long as this holds, you probably get a good short out of it. We're gonna drop it to down to the 4 hour. 4 hours holding up fairly well, right? This is our market structure line right here. I'll get rid of the daily fibs. Less confusing. Came back, filled this notable high volume candle, right? All these imbalances in here. So this isn't looking terribly. This isn't looking terrible. So the 4 hour, you know, you'd still be long. more or less. I'll drop it down to 50-minute. We see a very strong downtrend on the 15-minute chart. So come back up to the daily VWAP, which would also be this previous high, right? At this point, come back down a little bit at $1.28. Probably get some night shorts down to that value area, that daily value area high. I will go over one more coin, and if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. Because I know this kind of gets repetitive because I'm just doing the same stuff over and over again. Alright, yeah, this looks like Bitcoin. Like, we have the swing high, the swing low, so we're going to take our volume profile from here and take our fibs from there. And what do we notice? 0.5 Fibonacci level, looked above, closed below. That was a good short opportunity. We're also now closing below, unless we pump back up. Probably going to close below the value area high, which is very bearish. So just like that, we're going to be looking for continuation downside to the 0.182 Fibonacci level, the point of control, and we also have an untested daily support line right there. So from 3.4 to 3.5 is where I'm basically looking for this coin to go on the daily chart. The 1 hour, we just take a quick look at the 1 hour. Yep, so actually my 1 hour, 4 hour might be better. Yeah, 4 hour, okay. Just looks cleaner. This is your market structure line right here, right? We came up, set a new high. We came down, set this low, then made a new high. So this is a market structure for our, this is our market structure line for continuation of like bullish market structure. If we break below it, most likely going to continue the downside. So retest of this right here at around $4 is just to be expected, and then we can continue lower to that 3.4, 3.5 range. All right, are there any other questions, or is my chat frozen? I'll just check on my phone. All right, so I'll see you guys around. If you want to join our Discord, you can always ask me questions. We have a lot of good traders in there. Links in the description below. If you also want 30% off your Bybit fees, we have a link below. Just sign up through that link and you'll get 30% off all of your fees, maker and taker. So enjoy your rest of your day, guys. Thank you.